How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Friday Tesla Power Hour live stream. Welcome, Tesla owner Sanju, Marco, DJ, Scott, Gage, Anders. Welcome, everyone. Let me know if my audio is coming in okay and clear. Orange Juju, yeah, must be getting his oranges. Okay, I got some bad news on the orange front. No oranges today, unfortunately. It became aware to me. Hey Tyler, thank you, loud and clear. Awesome. Got the coffee. Let's go, Anish. Nice. It became aware to me about circa 5.5 minutes ago that there are indeed no oranges in the house. I've passed on my complaint to HR, aka my girlfriend, that it's an unacceptable behavior, right? Especially with the week that we've had in Tesla, by the way, which we were sitting at $672 on. So yeah, up and down kind of day today. Up to 690. I mean, we rocketed up to 690 at around 7:30 in the morning here Pacific time for really just a hot second. Just a hot second. Um, this week has just been it's just been doldrums this week. By the way, let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Let me know city or state or country, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. Let me know. So yeah, it's been a and even if you look at the flows, right? If you take a look at the flows, which I've got pulled up here, these are the flows for today, right? Nothing massive, nothing massive. The biggest one is a block order, but in terms of sweeps, we got a couple 100,000 here, a couple 100,000 there. We did get a massive put sweep this morning for 600,000, but that was right at pretty much 15 minutes from open. So it's been a while. It's been definitely a while since then. Let me just here. Right, there we go. London, Netherlands, Maryland, Surrey, from Surrey, BC, Luis. Nice. I'm from Vancouver. Newtown, Pennsylvania, Hermosa Beach, Massachusetts, Chicago, the city of, and then nothing. I'll call it the Windy City for you. New Jersey. Age has put in his coordinates. I am tempted to put that into my browser. North Dakota, um, New Jersey, nice. A lot of we got people from everywhere. Johnson City, Tennessee, nice, nice. Minot, is that Minot or Minot? I don't know. North Dakota, San Francisco, Dubai, nice. Local fan, nice. That's awesome, Luis. Appreciate that. Um, so yeah, there is a $1.2 million split single exchange sweep on the bottom. In general, flow algo tells me not to worry too much about splits and blocks. They say to look at sweeps. So, but yeah, I mean, again, remember with put sweeps or with put orders, right? It's hard to differentiate them from hedges. That's the problem. But we've seen it today. That put sweep probably made a lot of money because we did dip from 690 all the way down. London, New Long Beach, California, nice. Jan says YouTube notifications brought me here. Stockholm, Sweden. Nice, Jan. Appreciate you watching in. So yeah, tough. Again, a quiet week, and that's why yesterday I made a video on how to collect premium. Right, that Iron Condor trade. I wonder if it's still existing here. It's not. Premium is just being sucked out of Tesla. Right. Gatch says hit that like. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you can hit the like button, I'd appreciate that much. Apparently, that helps grow the channel, which is tremendous help. By the way, if you want to join us, if you want to help support the channel, join our community, our private community on Discord, on our chat room. Link for Patreon is actually in my pinned comment on this chat. If you want to join, any plan gets you in. And we have plans as low as $5 per month, which quite honestly is nothing, but it helps support the channel. Well, I was wrong. We went back down below 700. Yeah, so it's tough. Okay, so if we look at the stock price, right, we're sitting at $672 at the moment, which is actually pretty much the volume weighted average price sitting at for the day. So with volume weighted average pricing and with the way Tesla's moving, I would say the biggest culprit for Tesla, and I'll check the volume right now, is lack of volume, right? We're sitting at 19.4 million shares traded for the day. It'd probably help if I showed you my screen. It's just doldrums, right? It's doldrums right now. we need a catalyst. We need something in the market to increase VIX. I've said this before, whether it's a massive news story, positive or negative, believe it or not, right now is just quiet, right? And that goes to the saying that everyone's been passing around, right? You know, in May, everyone goes away. But remember, that's a that's a media driven story as far as I'm concerned, to get retail to sell off to institutions, because what happens in May, right? Everyone's paid their taxes, hopefully by May. Everyone knows how bad of a tax hit they were hit with. So in May, people are, you know, feeling a little bit more reserved, a little bit more conservative, right? I do have CNBC actually here, so if she does pop up, I will pull that up, but I don't see her on right now. Yeah, and so there was news yesterday that Tesla sold out Q2 inventory. You guys are saying Kathy's coming on CNBC at 3 p.m. I've got CNBC pulled up here. Do you guys mean 3 p.m. Eastern or Pacific? Jan says, any comment on the news that Barron's trimmed their Tesla holdings? Still their biggest holding though. You know, I didn't actually get to analyze that, but yesterday Bailey and Bailey and Gifford actually came out with a report, or with their whatever filing, that they sold off their I think 43% of their Tesla position. You got to remember, B&G, they consistently have sold off Tesla position as far as, you know, last summer. I remember hearing, and they're kind of the definition of a fair weather investor in Tesla. A really good article last year that we looked at on this channel was by Frank Pilleen, if you guys remember that video I made on the S&P inclusion, which institutions hold Tesla and which institutions don't. And B&G was defined by Frank, and you can tell by their actions, as a fair weather investor. They don't care to trim positions. They're not really a long-term Tesla believer. So don't believe those headlines. In terms of Barron, I can try to pull that up. But, you know, Ron Barron is different from Barron Capital, right? So, you know, keep that into consideration, unless you mean Barron's. So, but I'm guessing you mean Ron Barron. I can try to pull that up. I'm sure it's on Twitter here somewhere. Again, like, the biggest thing I think about is portfolio allocation on an ETF. If Kathy Wood comes out and says we've sold Tesla stock, that doesn't scare me. If Kathy Wood comes out and says we've lowered our portfolio allocation in this fund from 10% Tesla to 7.5% Tesla, well, then that kind of worries me. Looks like we've broken above the volume weighted average price here, just in time for power hour. Hopefully we can rocket back to 690 high of day here. Janet Yellen did the hedge funds a solid this week. She crushed tech and she walked it back while you stayed down. Yeah, I remember back in the days of Ben Bernanke, and, you know, everything happening with, like, people think this is a new phenomenon with, you know, these politicians, these Fed chairs, these heads coming out saying stuff stupid and then walking it back. It's just the name of the game, right? So Gaj says, my question is, the S&P fund bought at 695, bought Tesla at 695, and can someone explain to me how are they making money for the last 5 months? Well, remember, you're assuming that their time horizon as a fund, as an ETF, as the top 500 companies in the world, their time horizon is as short as ours. Their time horizon is decades, right? Years, probably decades for Tesla. They don't care in the last 5 months whether or not Tesla's flirting with the price that they bought it at or whatever. For them, it's all about redistributing their portfolio once they've acquired. Like, they have standardized rules and processes, right? And during S&P inclusion, which, shout out if you were part of this channel back then, you would know we did a live stream. We talked all about, you know, how the process of them including Tesla was going to be. But if you remember, I talked about this on the channel. S&P fund does not care at what price they're including Tesla into their portfolio. They just care that they're able to get the sufficient amount of liquidity in the stock. And that's why I predicted after post S&P inclusion, in the weeks following, we're going to see a skyrocketing of the price, right? So for the S&P fund, for the S&P, you know, if we take a look at, let's say, SPY, you know, the ETF that is SPY, for them, they don't care. Their returns are based on, I guess, yearly, but really it's a long-term thing that they're worrying about, right? So STC says, I'm thinking that the remainder of 2021 is going to be dominated by a shaky macro and a market correction in August. I'm thinking the opposite. So here's my kind of general working thesis at the moment. I think the first half of 2021 for tech is being plagued with chip shortages and scares about chip shortages. And then also we have to remember, if you look at macro, right? I'm going to pull up macro for everyone just so we can get some context on this. This is the Qs. This is the NASDAQ 100 ETF. We are currently sitting less than $10 away from all-time highs, right? It's hard to say macro is bad, right? Like, we are undoubtedly in a linear regression to the upwards and right on any way that you look at this chart. We are $10 away from all-time highs. That's the Qs. You're going to say, okay, well, what about the S&P 500? The S&P 500 is at an all-time high, sitting at $4,220 as we talk right now. So if you look at macro, if you want to talk macro for a second, macro's at all-time highs, but that goes back to my working thesis, which is that tech is whatever has, obviously this is going to sound stupid because, every tech company deals with chips, semiconductors and all that sort of stuff. But the ones, especially like Tesla, that heavily rely on stuff like this, they've been hit disproportionately bad. So they're not at all-time highs, right? This is Tesla's daily graph. I think we all know how this feels. So if you look at the 150-day moving average on Tesla, it's now sitting at $645, whatever it is, $645. So we're at $30 away on the downside on that. Whether or not we touch it, reclaim supply there or not is to be determined. But the reason why we're getting this, the reason why we're getting so much chop is quite literally because we're sitting in between supply zones at the moment, right? A bunch of supply zones. Whether we break in and out is to be determined. But if you remember the last time this happened, and I was making a video, it was right over beginning of April, I believe, beginning of April last month, when we were sitting in between these supply lines. And, I was like, we either break down or we break up from there. We broke up. You guys remember that day when we went from $715 all the way to $760 or $770, that first time that we saw a big green candle in about a month. So right now, you could say the chop is expected. And that's why I was looking at my last video. If you take a look at the previous video I did last night, it's about how to sell premium in this market, right? So Elon said on the call that they don't have chip shortage concerns. Absolutely. Whether or not, here's the problem, right, that institutions have with Elon, right? For us, we put more value into what Elon says than institutional investors do. If Tim Cook were to come out and say something, the market would believe him, or I guess Wall Street would believe him. Elon doesn't have the clout or the reliability in the Wall Street eyes at the moment to, and don't get me wrong, Daniel Ives, obviously Kathy Wood, there's a lot of Tesla bears on Wall Street, but the vast majority of them that hold a lot of these funds or hold a lot of this big money, they don't value what he says at face value yet. They might, but at the moment, especially with timing, everyone knows Elon's notorious for telling us about timing, right? Jan says, how much of this chip scarcity is faked, right? Chip makers holding back on deliveries to high prices. That could definitely be possible. I don't know how much. It's kind of like that diamond, right? Like, everyone knows that diamonds are controlled by one company. It could definitely be the same thing, as De Beers. So, but back to my point, the first half of 2021, I think, and by the way, we're not that far away from the first half. Like, June 1st is less than a month away, right? Which is nuts to me if you think about it. We're halfway done 2021, almost in a month. Nuts. But the first half of 2021 is going to be, it has been played with FUD around Tesla and chip shortage scares, right? If you remember in Texas, when that snowstorm or that big storm hit, tragically in the state of Texas, and a bunch of suppliers went down, that was the first week that Tesla stock dramatically sold off. That was the week that Gary Black got, maybe alerted, or, he sold off his shares in Tesla because, employees came out and they said that the Fremont factory was closed for the last 2 days, and it didn't come out until a week later. So the first half is almost over, but I think the second half, especially with the amount of money the Fed is printing, the amount, just if you look at money supply and if you look at interest rates being rock bottom, if you look at real estate prices, we're going to be over 2% inflation probably for the short term for a little bit. Whether or not we have long-term inflation, Kathy Wood doesn't think so, but in the short term, we're probably going to be over 2% soon enough. It's asset prices. This is what I want to be invested in is companies like this. So June 3rd is when I get my second COVID shot. Nice. and the amount of FUD that's been coming out on Tesla is crazy in the last month. I haven't, the last time I remember this much FUD it's probably during the time where Tesla was doing their fourth quarter of straight profitability on Gap last year. Around then was articles coming out, Tesla may qualify for the S&P. That month we saw a lot of FUD as well. But since then, like this last month has been terrible with the amount of FUD. Probably the most in history for Tesla, probably. Especially with the amount of mainstream media attention Tesla now gets, where they didn't get this much attention a couple years ago. Bebe and Pepe says Queen Kathy's tail is getting quite long. Absolutely. And the orange emoji, I like it. Nice. Yeah, it's Kathy Wood's not on CNBC yet, or I do have CNBC pulled up here. Forget about the Dow Jones. I love how they always show Dow Jones when they want to fit their narrative. If they want to fit, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is so easy to manipulate. So check this headline out. This is interesting. Stocks rally. Oh, we just missed it. Stocks rally despite disappointing jobs numbers. We're in this market now where good news actually dampens the stock market and bad job and labor news actually inflates the market. And the reason for that is if the economy can continue to have shitty job numbers, we know that the government is going to have to prop up a lot of the economy. And with that comes increasing stimulus, maybe increasing aid packages, whatever, insert whatever governmental package. So now it's super interesting what's been happening since COVID is it's the inverse, right? Disappointing job numbers rallies the market. Good job numbers indicates that the government can take the foot off the gas and therefore lower stock prices. It's crazy. Is Kathy on CNBC yet? No, she is not. I've got it pulled up here. I don't know when she's coming on CNBC. You guys said 3 o'clock. Is that 3 o'clock Eastern or is that 3 o'clock Pacific? I'll pull it up. I'll search for Twitter unless someone knows here. Kathy will be on CNBC's closing bell at 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Eastern it is, but no, I do not see Kathy up here at the moment. I'll keep CNBS pulled up here, though. I'll keep it pulled up in case she pops up. You guys can see Eastern. Okay, so it should be coming up. She should be coming up anytime now. It's like that last time when Ron Barron was supposed to come on, and all of a sudden, Tesla stock price crashed and he just disappeared. Has SNL hype increased option premium at all? Let's take a look. My gut to that is absolutely not. The market doesn't care about SNL. No, in fact, it's lowered it. Yesterday when I was recording my video, Tesla IV percentile was at 9%. Now it's at 5% at the moment. So it's lowered it, if anything. So got my CNBC pulled up. Just Doge. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think Elon is gonna say during his SNL skit? Is he going to pump Doge, which a lot of people are thinking? Is he going to release his own Tesla coin, his new altcoin? I think we've forgotten the fact that Elon Musk quite literally changed his profile picture to a fork in the road and just said, just for one day. Like, that's hinting at him releasing a coin. But let me know what you guys think. Giga Mars, I just want Elon to wear his red shorts. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know if that'll do good for the stock price. He's gonna do a legit criticism meme. I hope he comes back off of I hope he addresses some sort of the FUD, because this is the most mainstream media he's gonna get directly, right? Let's see what CNBS is saying.
And I don't think we should dismiss it. I think that this requires a very hard look by different bodies around the world. And you've seen a lot of virologists, you've seen a lot of authoritative groups dismiss it without taking a hard look at it. And all the accumulating evidence, I think, continues to support the possibility that this did come out of a lab. And it wasn't deliberately manipulated into something that was engineered to be a weapon, but it could have been something that, as it got...
Okay, whatever. Come on. Let's move on from that sort of news. Okay, so let's take a look at Thinkorswim. Tesla is currently rallying up to 674 because it knows good juju's coming. Appreciate that. Absolutely. Oh, good times. There we go. Let's get the Power Hour rally going. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, join the family, join us on Patreon and Discord if you'd like. Let's go. Let's go to 690 today on close. How's that? Is everyone good with the 690 close today? Marco says, thanks to Anne's pin, I've made 2 day trades again today, collected 687. Marco, killing it. Awesome. If you don't know, Marco is referring to, in our Discord, we have an awesome VIP Discord member, Anne, who does awesome with actually doing, I think she does some sort of mix of looking at option open interest, which I don't really look at too much. She looks at that mixed with max pain, and she is able to kind of predict some sort of a pin the market makers are putting in. Super awesome. That's awesome, Marco. Congrats. And Kelsey, Kathy bringing more juju likely on close. I hope so. I've got my CMBS pulled up here, which, by the way, I get a lot of messages. It's actually hilarious. I get a lot of messages after my streams on my Discord private message, and it's like you keep seeing CNBS. Like, I hope you know it's CNBC. It's so in case you're wondering, yes, I do know it's CNBC. Vivian, welcome. Greetings. How's it going? Dad says, I'm so ready for Power Hour. Dinner is consumed, tables cleared, chocolate milk is ready. My time to relax. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for putting us as a part of your evening ritual there. $673.20 sitting on Tesla. Let's put up the time in sales, shall we? And let's put up the level 2. I haven't looked at the level 2 in some time in Tesla. So let's take a look at what we got going on. No big sell orders. Obviously, the ones to be expected are going to be sitting at hold numbers, but nothing massive. Again, the problem we're having is there's no volume. If you look at my time in sales, which I'll try to move my logo. I think you guys know who I am. If you look at the time in sales, look at the volume, right? It's just so slow. Nuts. What is going on? CCIV is going up. CCIV just released plans to advertise on SNL's channel, I'm pretty sure, recently. So, you know, I don't know. CCIV, that's Lucid? Yes, that's Lucid. SpaceX rocks. Let's go Tesla. Let's do it. So $673 at the moment on Tesla. Let's look here. Take a look. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make sure I don't miss CNBC with Kathy Wood. So let's take a look. Okay. Look at Nikola. Oh, God. What is Nikola doing? I don't even want to know what Nikola is doing, quite honestly. Nikola is up 12% on the day. Jesus Christ. Man. And CCIV is up 3% now. Pretty nuts. Volume on Tesla is still crazy low. Like, this is the problem, right? Volume on Tesla is sitting at 20.2 million, and we are approaching half an hour to close. Friday volume with, just remember, when Friday volume is this low, these are the days that you could argue market makers can really manipulate the stock, right? I did not expect Tesla volume to be this low for this long. So what will cause theta to jump? Okay, so what causes theta to jump is an increased amount of people buying and selling calls and puts. So if Tesla, announces earnings or some sort of, I'll walk you through the typical example. Tesla announces earnings date a week before earnings day, everyone puts in their call and put option positions in. That increases the premium. So fundamentally speaking, what increases options pricing and implied volatility percentile is people buying and selling calls and puts. I have this fuzzy theory where the reason why we're seeing mass amounts of low implied volatility across all different stocks is because retail has been left holding the bag over the last 2 or 3 months, and retail hasn't been able to buy the amount. Like, how many people do you hear go making these outrageous bets on Tesla on Twitter that you used to see even 2 or 3 months ago, right? Very few people are doing that sort of stuff now. So until retail reloads up with capital and market makers or market makers start stepping in and making big bets, or not market makers, pardon me, Susquehanna, Citadel, these guys are market makers. They're not going to be making directional delta bets. But, until money managers step up, we do see flows come in here and there, but not a massive amount. Okay, we got CNBC coming up here. Okay, Kathy Wood is next. I've got it streamed up here. June Juju. I like that, Steve. June Juju. I might coin that for the month of June. I like it. I guess July Juju works too. Doesn't falling volume help confirm bullish pennant? Says Charles. Thanks, Charles, for being a member, by the way. So yes and no. So in general, the way I look at low volume, so there's two things. There's relatively low volume, and then there's just volume lowering on an average basis. So I think what we're seeing in Tesla is not that we have low volume, and this could be true, this could not be true. I don't think what we're seeing right now in the last month or two of Tesla, volume being 20 million, 25, some days 19, some days lower, some days around there. I don't think that's what I'm trying to say is I think that's going to be the new norm, right? So whether or not we go back to the normal 35 million shares traded, 40 million shares traded is to be determined. I think this might be the new norm for the stock. So over the long run, you could argue that this average volume indicator that we look at of 35 million is just going to trail down and down and down until this is just the new norm. But yes, to your point, whenever we have massive up days on really high volume, and then we see the next day consolidating or selling off on lower volume, that indicates profit taking more than it does big institutions exiting their position. The way I look at volume is if we have a massive volume day, up or down, it doesn't matter. Let's say if we're down 10%, it's a massive volume day. I look at that move with more conviction than if we had a 10% down day on half the average volume, right? Big volume just indicates to me strength in the move up or down. So if what you're saying is, doesn't the last couple of weeks of just really low volume indicate that we're setting up for the storm, and this is just a calm before the storm? Absolutely. Could be totally right. Long-winded answer just to say that I think over the long run, I by the time we make videos at the end of this year, I think average volume on Tesla will be sub 30 million is my guess. Cybertruck, semi-truck, Kathy's our bull. Kathy's coming up. Yes, it's just we got advertisements on CNBC right now. We got it. I'll pull it up though. Mega Shanes, welcome. IPOE searching. I know Anne loves SoFi. I think Tyler, you're big in SoFi as well. Take a look here. All right. Let's pull up CNBC. I think Kathy's coming up any second now. Let's take a look.
This week. ARK Invest's flagship innovation ETF has skyrocketed over the recent couple of years, surging more than 400% since its inception in 2014. The ETF really picking up steam last year as retail investors piled into the fund, up nearly 150% in 2020, but falling 25% in the last 3 months as a number of high-growth momentum stocks have pulled back. ARK Invest CEO Kathy Wood joins us now in an exclusive interview. Kathy, good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to be here, Wilfred. Thank you.
Let's touch, if we may, on this sort of current pullback. Do you actually welcome that as a long-term buying opportunity for a lot of the stocks you love, or are you feeling the heat a little bit?
Oh, I love this setup. The last time I was on, I think I said that this rotation was good news because it meant the bull market was broadening out. It was strengthening. And the worst thing that could have happened to us is to have the market narrowly focus on just our ilk of stock, the innovation space. Instead, it has broadened out so that year to date, I think it's energy's up 40%, financials are up 27%. And from the peak in mid-February, our strategies are down. The ones that have been hit the hardest, not all of them, are down 30 to 35%. I love that setup. We're at, from our point of view, 5-year time horizon, nothing has changed except the price, and therefore the return, which at the peak of the market and of our strategy in mid-February, we expected a compound annual rate of return of 15% on average per year from our strategies. Now that the prices are down, that number is somewhere in the 25 to 30% range.
You may love the setup, Kathy, but it hasn't been great for your business. I mean, worst start to the month on record. You've seen outflows of $1 billion. How are you managing these declines? And there's speculation out there that if the outflows continue, it would be hard to meet redemptions.
No, well, first of all, I don't have to worry about redemptions. ETFs, the ETF ecosystem is a beautiful thing for portfolio managers. I highly recommend it. So what that means is when I am making decisions, they are investment decisions. I have nothing to do with the flows. The ETF ecosystem, the authorized participants, the market makers outside of ARC, although of course we're overseeing their actions, they are facilitating our flows. And they're doing it in many ways with algorithms and derivatives. I think the ecosystem has become quite profitable for them. So we have experienced no problem. If you look at our spreads, there's been hardly a disturbance in our spreads. As far as flows, actually, we've been very gratified. I think if you go month by month now, this is endpoint to endpoint, we have not seen a month of redemptions yet. I would be, I don't want to say never. I mean, of course, we're going to get redemptions. And in fact, in the ETF structure, when we get redemptions, because of the in-kind nature of redemptions, we are able to offer a much more tax-efficient strategy or portfolio in this wrapper than we ever could have in a mutual fund.
Kathy, I wanted to dive into a couple of some of the talking points people have put out in the last couple of months. And the first one is what you would say to those people that have criticized the way in which you've held your own ETFs within one of your other ETFs. Do you accept that in the least that's not an ideal thing to be doing?
Well, this is the 3D printing fund within the space ETF, ARKX. Because 3D printing is one of the killer apps, in fact, the killer app, is aerospace, including space. We felt it very important to have a good smattering of 3D printing. Now, 3D printing is a smaller cap space. And so we felt that because it was so important that we would put it in our fund. However, our clients are not being double charged. That comes out. We do not charge them double fee. Instead, they have a very well-diversified participation in 3D printing, which I think as more and more people understand how important it is going to be to aerospace, not just rockets and satellites, but also airplanes, including the engines. I think they'll appreciate why we own 3D printing and wanted to own it in size.
Whether it's the 3D printing ETF within the space exploration and innovation ETF, or a couple of the other holdings in that space exploration ETF, like Netflix, like Deere. Should that ETF be called just the innovation ETF? I mean, is the space exploration part of it at the front of its title, the lead part of its title, a little bit misleading?
No, not at all. In fact, what we believe, and comparing and contrasting to the other offerings out there, which have satellite radio, satellite TV, the old world, we believe the next frontier here, where there are real money-making opportunities, is not space tourism. It's going to be a very small market in the short term. It's two markets. Mobile connectivity. There are 3 billion people around the world who have no access to Netflix, broadband, and the internet. And the satellites that SpaceX and others are putting up there now are going to give those people an opportunity to become a part of the Netflix family. So we think Netflix is going to be a huge beneficiary. Deere is probably, because of its name and everybody knows its tractors, they think it's old world, old DNA. They, for a more industrial company, they're one of the most progressive companies I've seen embracing technologies. Now, farming is going to become much more efficient. The productivity gains are going to be enormous as we start using drones to identify exactly how much fertilizer is needed, where. So I think that drones and some of the connectivity from a weather point of view, they've done for years. They bought a company from Monsanto to focus on the weather and how weather patterns would affect farmer productivity around the world. So I think autonomous farming is going to demand drones, satellite information, and so we think it's going to be a big play.
I guess the other factor I'd just throw in as well, that you remove limits on investing more than 30% of assets in a single firm and more than 20% of a single firm's shares, as well as some of those other factors that we mentioned. And I guess just bring it all together, the broad question I had is whether, because of your fantastic inflows, it's a great problem to have, whether you grew a bit too fast for your investment universe, for your ilk of stock, as I think you said earlier in the interview, and whether at any point over that period, the last 6 months or so, you did pause and consider thinking, maybe we should stop allowing more inflows and close the ETFs, close the funds, rather than launching more ETFs, raising limits, buying your own ETFs within your own ETFs, and whether that was a question you at least asked yourselves over this massive inflows.
Well, it's not possible to close an ETF, unlike a mutual fund. So that's
it's not impossible, though. I mean, you can change the rules of the game somewhat.
I do not think it's possible. I think the regulators would have a big problem with that, the way they've set the structure up, especially because of the way ETF flows are handled. Really, that's not within one firm like ours. There's a whole ecosystem around us. We went from 10 billion to 80 billion in 10, 11 months. That was pretty parabolic. And of course, we were very grateful for those flows, and we're still grateful for the flows we are getting. But that's parabolic. We are used to exponential growth. That's what we do. Our strategies, our innovation platforms, we believe are going to scale exponentially, and therefore our capacity should scale exponentially. 10 to 80 billion was a little faster than that. And so we've taken risk control measures so that we do not own too much of one stock. And you'll also see we've seen an explosion of IPOs around innovation, secondaries, SPACs are all about innovation. So we are getting more and more opportunities to scale with these newer companies participating in the innovation space.
Kathy, I wanted to talk Tesla, one of your favorite stocks, because that's part of the performance issue. It's off 25% from the highs. And There's some real questions right now about the reliance on autopilot and whether that has led to some deaths. You have been super bullish on Tesla's autonomous future and the vision of robo-taxis. Isn't that problematic, given some of the concerns here around safety?
Actually, I think we've gotten some very important information recently that Tesla is seeing its way through, so to speak, to autonomous. And that is, they've decided to take radar out of the ecosystem and just depend on vision, computer vision, CV, so 8 cameras. I think they're getting much closer. And, as far as autonomous, when anyone talks about safety in an autonomous vehicle, they have to consider the alternative. The alternative is human-driven travel. Humans are responsible for 80% plus of all fatalities in automobiles. And so autonomous is going to really take that issue away from us. So we think that we're much closer than most do. We think we're probably not as close as Tesla thinks it is. But we do think within the next 2 years, we're going to see some really surprising breakthroughs from Tesla. We've been watching Waymo and Cruise Automation here, and we think they're probably struggling with how to scale that business. We think Tesla is going to go autonomous at scale or much more quickly than any of its competitors.
And then there's the China issue. They seem to be really clashing with customers on social media, the public, and the government. What do you think is going on there, and how much of a risk factor is that for the stock and the business?
Well, we do think that that China wants its locals to win. We saw, I think, just in this week, NIO. Because of the battery swap system it has, no matter what it's pricing its cars at, it's going to get subsidies, whereas the Model Y will not get subsidies in China. So there is some favoritism for locals, but we found something out very interesting this week. If you look at the drop in share of Tesla's cars in the electric vehicle space in China, what you will also see is an increase in the number of exports to Europe. And in talking to the company, we found it curious. And it seems that the quality of cars being built in China, in that super modern factory, the quality is much higher than those being built in Fremont. And we know that the European customer used to beautiful German cars is very particular about quality and design. And we think Texas will be a step up as well. So Fremont's just a very old plant. So it was very interesting to learn that. And so I think that Tesla will manage the issue you've identified and that many are discussing by exporting to the rest of the world. And I think China's going to like that. China has not been a big exporter of autos to the developed world. This will be a feather in their cap.
Interesting theory. Kathy, we have a lot more to talk about with you, a lot more names to get to. So please stay with us if you would. We're going to take a quick commercial break here on Closing Bell. More with Kathy Wood and including some of her other favorites like Teladoc, Zoom, and Coinbase. We'll be right back.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So if you didn't catch it at the end, and Kathy's sticking around here, so we're going to watch the rest of this interview. But she says that you gotta love Kathy. And to sum it up by Tesla, we like the stock. But what she said right there is, yes, there is FUD coming out of China. Yes, NIO is gonna get favoritism for being a local national company and get subsidies, whereas the Model Y won't. Because remember, I think NIO only makes SUVs, right? But she said, for the first time in a while, Tesla gives China this unique ability to be an exporter of autos, because in China, I guess that makes sense. What auto manufacturers in China export to the world? I don't really know, right? Japan is a huge exporter. Obviously, we know that. So China can now become an exporter of autos, which they might be happy with, right? And if we look at the stock price, it hasn't terribly moved. Back in the day, we would see a massive move up and down. We're sticking right around $672. Man, it's crazy, right? The CNBC hosts that come on and they ask her questions. Why do they ask her harder questions than they ask he who shall not be named with the initials DJ, right? Which, by the way, he came out and you guys were telling me on the chat, his dad or his stepdad is a Ford executive. Allegedly, this is all alleged. Allegedly, he's a Ford executive or had been a Ford executive. There you go. If we talk about connections to ICE, connections to dinosaur companies, and connections to why he hates Tesla, there you go. That's it right there, right? GM. Yeah, JG, exactly. That's crazy. General Motors. But like he's the vice president of manufacturing or something. GM, not Ford. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, R6. It's well, there you go, right? That explains a lot. And the fact that he comes on CNBC, he doesn't have to disclose whether or not he has a short position, whether he's long any shares of any other autos. And the fact that he even gets airtime despite being one of the lowest ranked analysts doesn't make any sense to me. It's fun, absolutely. But you know what? At the end of the day, we have to realize CNBC, Fox, CNN, I don't care what Telemundo, I don't care what I don't even have Telemundo in Canada, but for some reason that slipped out of my tongue. Okay, wait, hold on. We'll talk about
We are back with ARK Invest CEO Kathy Wood, who joins us exclusively today. Kathy, thank you for taking the time. A lot of your favorite stocks are the classic stay-at-home plays, Teladoc, Zoom Video, Peloton, and investors have soured on them lately. Number one, because it seems like it would be as good as it gets during the pandemic and a big pull forward in a lot of their revenue. And number two, you look at some of these earnings reactions and you've seen some really sharp sell-offs and questions about whether they're overvalued. Why are you sticking with them?
Well, we legged into them as in this period. We had sold actually into the coronavirus because we saw these stocks soaring and many of our others completely misunderstood. So we made some what turned out to be very good moves in terms of their relative appreciation one to the others. And we have been legging back into them in this period because they've been cut in half, most of them. So what you are saying about stay at home and the disaffection with them in the marketplace seems to be getting priced in. And we think these are platform companies. They're for the new world that are harnessing data. And we're in a period now. Many people think we're going back to the old world. I don't think so. Better, cheaper, faster, more productive, more creative we're not going back to the old world. We really, even thinking about digital work. I know at our firm, we're debating exactly what our hybrid strategy is going to be and how it's going to work. But I think Zoom is going to become essential. It is part of the enterprise software stack and technology stack. Communications is the largest part of that stack. And we think that Zoom is going to take a bigger and bigger chunk of that stack. One of the things and from our own experience, we know, Zoom's at its best inter-company. Many people say, well, what about Teams, Microsoft? This is why Slack had to sell out to Salesforce. This is different. Microsoft cannot scale, we don't believe, the inter-company communications. They're very good at intra, and we use Microsoft in-house. But inter, we think that's going to be Zoom's market, and we do think it's going to take more and more of the traditional communication stack, PBXs, for example.
What about Apple? Not a typical ARK stock, but you have owned it in a fund, and I've noticed that you've been selling it, and in fact have halved your position this week. Why?
Yes, what we do as a bull market extends, as it did last year, we usually put into the portfolio, since we cannot hold any cash, we put into the portfolio, I'll call them cash-like innovation stocks. So the FANGs certainly meet that criteria. They're acting like defensives. They truly are. On days when utilities and staples do well, very often communication services are doing well. So during a period of volatility like we've just seen, we will sell those stocks and move into either our more pure play or earlier stage innovation companies that are being hurt by the risk off.
Kathy, you grabbed some attention and news recently by buying into Twitter. Talk us quickly through the rationale, and I guess, are you buying more given that, you know, it's pulled back again of late, trading it down about 52 bucks?
Yes. So Nick Gruce is our analyst on Twitter, and he's been experimenting with Spaces, which is their version of Clubhouse. He loves it and thinks that could do very well. We also think that tipping, and this had been a rumor for a while, they announced it today, I believe, that tipping might become a bigger deal for Twitter than most people anticipate. Might be much more important to their monetization strategy. And as you know, we understand at ARK the power of Twitter. We are pushing our research out through Twitter. It is our most productive social network. It is helping our analysts engage with and become a part of the communities they are researching. There's nothing like Twitter to do that. And I think a lot more knowledge workers are going to be forced into, well, or lured into, onto the platform for that reason.
Kathy, away from your positions, I wanted to ask you about Bill Huang, who, as you know, has been in the news lately behind Archegos. And Bloomberg reported that he's a backer of yours. And I was just wondering what that meant and how well you know him and whether you've shared investment ideas with him.
I know Bill Huang. I met him actually through a church. We were both advisors to what was called the Financial Services Ministry, younger people going through the financial services industry, especially in New York City. So that was in 2013. And on our way back from that event, we were exchanging stock ideas back then, and I know he bought into one of the stocks in which we had a high degree of confidence, Netflix, and he hadn't been involved at all in U.S. stocks. He had mostly been involved in Asian stocks, so he was very interested, and we chatted a bit about media generally in the United States. So yes, he did provide the seed for our first 4 ETFs, and we were very grateful to him. It was at a time where market makers were sick of seeding new strategies because they'd be stranded with $2 million stuck in an ETF that doesn't go anywhere. So we needed to go out and find that seed. And Bill, hearing what I was saying about the company that I was going to start, and I did share that with everyone at that retreat, was very intrigued, and very intrigued with the stocks we were interested in. He was just beginning to learn about them. I have not spoken to him. I sent him a note after I heard about the unfortunate events that we've all witnessed, and I'm wishing him well. But he was there for us in the early days, and we're very grateful to him.
Do you know if he still had any capital in any of your ETFs in recent months? Obviously, there'll be a lot of banks chasing any remnants of capital that's left.
Yeah, to be honest, I have no idea. As you know, with ETFs, we don't know who our shareholders are. The idea at the time was to seed. I've never asked him if he kept the money in. If he wanted to volunteer, he might have, but no, we've never had that conversation.
Well, Kathy, thank you so much for this extended conversation. As always, it's a pleasure to catch up. Kathy Wood, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kathy.
All right. Pretty good interview. I mean, Kathy, whenever Kathy comes on, there's always a degree of just calming, right? That she brings. So super awesome. Towards the end, we really didn't get much direction. I wish they would have asked her about SNL. I'd be curious to see what she thinks about that. So, like I was saying, so we're at $673 right now. Welcome, Johnny. We're just right around the volume weighted average price to close the day. So, I mean, really, what is left here is tomorrow we have SNL. We have Elon Musk going on SNL doing a skit. I would think there's nothing really to come. I saw. Glad to see Kathy join, hit that bit. Appreciate it. It's yeah. I saw a comment here. Who was it from? Boyle saying, "I just sold covered calls for next week. I sold in covered calls, thinking the SNL will bring a lot of Musk hate. Potentially, to be honest, I think this SNL skit is going to be a nothing burger for the stock. But I think there's the off chance that Elon Musk either pumps Doge, pumps a Tesla coin, an altcoin he's going to release or something like that. But I don't think it'll make a big difference based on the Tesla stock price. That's just my opinion on it. But I did see another comment saying it's saying that you're going to treat SNL as earnings. To be determined. Yes. So closing on to the day, again, we have really low volume. We're sitting at right now 22.2 million shares traded in Tesla. Really not a lot. Really just a quiet Friday where the market makers are expiring what they want. Worthless. They're probably happy. This Friday really feels like the Friday you have before a big week, right? And tell me if I'm wrong. It just feels, that gut feeling I have of today is that next week is going to be a big week. Now, hopefully that's on the upside. And if you look at the daily graph, and I see some comments here coming in about wedges and all that sort of stuff. And we'll talk about flows here in a couple seconds. But today really feels like one of those Fridays to end a quiet week where, man, it's kind of like, yeah, I hope I'm right as well. It feels like one of those Fridays, right? Where you come back on the Monday and you're like, holy shit. Same feeling. Yeah. It just feels like it. Right. And, let's see how this ages, but that's just how I feel with the stock. I mean, 22 million shares traded, quiet Friday, lots of FUD everywhere. Remember, we got FUD everywhere, and the market's closing in 20 seconds here. Oh shit. Hold on. Market's closing in 20 seconds. Just make sure I got nothing left on my stuff here. One sec. Do all. Got my Interactive Brokers on my phone, right? So, okay. So just there. So there we go. So yes, closed at $672.37 to close the day off. Tesla owner saying yes next week. Big up, the calm before the storm. Absolutely. I hope I'm right as well, guys. Thanks, Juju Master. It's let's cross our fingers. Let's hope for a really good weekend. I mean, I'm not going to say no to $800 by end of next week on Tesla. Oh, back on, I did see a comment back on the stock crash. So, or not the stock crash, the Tesla crash. There was more FUD today, this morning, with Tesla in China and this video of this car crash. Your discretion is advised here. Now look at this. That is not on autopilot. I'll tell you that right now. There is no chance it's on autopilot. I know Ray on Tesla says a source familiar with the accident claims that Tesla said was speeding at 160 kilometers per hour. Tesla AEB, that's the auto braking, works between 8 and 150 kilometers per hour. Also, there's no chance this is autopilot. You can tell the car is not moving within the lanes right towards the end there. This is a driver gone rogue. Super sad. I actually don't know what happened. It looks like there was a pretty bad crash. But like, come on, like how many Ferraris have I seen a crash like that with? And that's not to Hey, thanks, Marco, for the super chat. €6.72. The closing price. It's exactly, Vivian, you say it the best. The lengths these people go to is scary. It's, I see like Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, if those still exist around the world. Like this is guaranteed someone driving recklessly and crashing. Why is this international news? Like, if every car crash from every automaker was mainstream media international news, we'd be like, why? But because it's Tesla, everyone wants to hear about it, right? Like, tell me, maybe if you made a news story about, okay, this Tesla was driving on full self-driving beta and it made a right turn, and this truck was going at the normal speed and it still made the right turn. Okay, different story. This is just a dude driving a Tesla going way too fast. I can tell you from experience, the first couple of times you drive a Tesla, you hit the pedal. Honestly, any electric car, the acceleration you experience is just nuts. That just looks like a dude that went for a joyride, right? So, do I have a referral link for Interactive Brokers? No, I tried getting one. They gave me one, but I don't know where it went, and for some people it doesn't work. I do have a Webull referral link. You can check the description for that. I just got that yesterday. Appreciate if you use that. But I as a Canadian, I can't use Webull, but I did download the app a couple of days ago, and it's actually a pretty legit app. Like, they actually show a lot of stuff on there. That's 100 miles per hour for Americans. Thank you, Tyler. Yes, I forget that most of the world other than America lives in kilometers per hour. when I don't know. I'm not gonna start this argument right now, but miles per hour is just stupid. Okay. The car's computer will have the information. Absolutely. But like, my point is, he tried to thread the gap. He tried to thread the gap in between lost back. Yeah, exactly, Charles. I still need to change my zombie notification. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, it's true. I was supposed to put Elon up there. But my point is, what other automaker gets an international story about them every time there's a user not generated, but user caused car crash? It's just nuts. Tesla does not buy advertising, so news outlets are protecting those who advertise. Very, very good and subtle point, Claude. Tesla does not buy ads. Therefore, they put no money in the mouths of these news outlets. So the only way these news outlets can get money from Tesla is by spreading FUD. Absolutely. Very subtle and good point. You can trade Doge on Webull now. Very nice. Very nice. Use my referral code. Appreciate it. And of course, this story's on top of the Webull ticker. Yeah, absolutely. So it's, they need to do an IQ test. That's the thing is I know there's a whole argument out right now, and I know Gary Black has just posted about it too. I'm on team Tesla needs to set up a small PR department. I know Elon has come out and said that's not going to happen, blah, 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 blah. I have been, and I will be. I'm not going to harp on it too much, but I do agree. Having a small, lean PR department of a couple of people that can at least, at the very minimum, put out an official statement on stuff is, and especially when you're a public company, you're worth $800 billion. I get it. You want to be contrarian. You want to be different. Having a PR department, a couple people, and Gary's saying Rob Maurer is the perfect person for this role. I agree. Rob is awesome. Rob would be a really good head of PR. He knows Tesla at an investment level, but he would know Tesla at a personal level. He has one as well. Whether or not he wants is a different story. But yeah, and I know there's a lot of people disagreeing that Tesla shouldn't have a PR department. Any new flows on Tesla? No, I don't think so. Let's refresh here just to make sure. It doesn't look like it. We saw no new flows since the first time we checked. No dark pool prints. If we check macro, if we look at the Qs, on the Qs we saw pretty much put action for today to end the day. Puts. Super bearish. We saw a dark pool print about 20 minutes before close at $331 on the Qs, which means the Qs are sitting at 334. So this actually looks like a buy leaning order. So someone putting in an order to buy. So there's that. If you look at the S&P, a lot of dark pool prints, which is normal. The flows are kind of 50-50, nothing generally speaking here massively to look at. But yeah, for Tesla, really quiet Friday, which again brings me to the point of these quiet Fridays. We felt these, like there's some Fridays, I think we all know this. Fridays are notoriously bad for Tesla stock and Mondays are notoriously really good, right? If you've been investing in Tesla or day trading Tesla for the last year, especially before S&P inclusion, you would know Friday is red, Monday is green. That's usually the way it goes. But, you know, today with the amount of low volume, you know, nothing really happening, it's setting up for potentially a big move next week. Potentially a really big move next week. I hope we get a big move, right? Tyler says, I agree. I thought about that a long time ago about Rob. Great ambassador. Yeah, Rob is awesome. PR is the law these days. In a world where we have instant information, such for social media, you've got to have a dedicated department, especially for disputing so many established businesses. Absolutely. Absolutely. Vivian, bye all. Thanks for the community and blessings to all. Thank you, Vivian. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Have a great night. Agreed. So, you know, yeah. And by the way, I'm not saying set up a team of 45 people. I'm saying get 2 or 3 people that can put out an official statement that can, it's not even about fighting FUD. It's about just having a stance, because I don't know about you, I'm just pretty much tired of having to go through Elon's Twitter history to look at his official replies to something that's been coming out that I think the company should release a saying for, right? And I get it. Being a founder, being the CEO, you want to have control. You want to keep it so the power kind of stays within you. But I think at the end of the day, having an official stance where we can go on a department site on Tesla.com and to at least get a blurb about what the official stance is from the company, I think is important. Juju Master, exactly. So keep nagging Elon. He might leave us. exactly. Yeah. And again, I'm not going to harp on it too much. It's not like something it's not a hill I'll die on. It's just, that's just what I think business wise should make sense. This about Rob Mueller has been said many times, a lot of buzz generated, so they might already be looking into it. Elon listens to the people, says Harris. Definitely possible. Definitely possible. I want to get Rob on the channel soon enough. Maybe when we grow, or maybe if you guys request. By the way, let me know if you guys want anyone specifically on the channel for us to interview or do a live stream with. I think that'll be cool. A cool way that we can grow the channel, but also do new types of content as well. So, what other CEO talks to his customers? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's not what I'm saying. I still think Elon should do what he wants to do. I just think having official stance, right? But again, I'm not going to harp on it as I harp on it. So after hours, sitting about flat. Again, 672 is where they closed. So all the 675, let me just take a look at the options here. All of the 675s and the 672.50s look like they're going to expire worthless on the call side, and the inverse on the put side. So 670 and downwards. Next week, if we look at the options market for next week, let's take a look here. Tyler says Sarah. Yes, that's true. I actually was DMing him and I totally forgot to message him back, but maybe I should. Stephen Mark Ryan from Solving the Money Problem. That'd be a cool one. Let's see here. Okay, so next week, and by the way, if you ever want to nag people about it, let them know as well. So then, as a smaller creator, it's always, I don't have the leverage, right? It's just the way it is, right? I'm not going to have the leverage to get someone with a couple 100,000 subscribers unless people reach out. The Doge father is Doge at $1 yet? Warren Redlick, yep. I know a lot of people in our Discord really like Warren. It's too far right there. Okay, so next week's options, if we take a look at it, an at-the-money call for next week is sitting at, or closed at, $17. That's really cheap, I gotta say. I'm surprised I didn't look at this earlier. Next week's at the money call is $17, and at the money put is also $17. That's really cheap. If Tesla moves today, Tesla moved $30, $40 swinging up and down. That's really cheap. Now, that either means two things. One, that someone's going to make a lot of money, or two, that they've got this pinned down for next week as well on low volume. One of the two there. Uncle Warren. Ken from Chicken Genius. Yes, Ken's awesome. I like his production value on his videos. So pretty quiet and way to end the week. Again, if we look at the daily here, we are sitting amidst many moving averages. The 8-day, the 25-day, the 50-day are all between 710 and 680. Really, I wish we closed above 690 this week. But the fact that we haven't, potentially we may have to retest supply at 650 or 640 to retest like we have at the end of March and in the beginning of March when we retested the 150-day. So to be determined whether we do that or we have a classic Tesla day, like take one of these big green candles that we've been having, where when Tesla is supposed to do something, it does the exact opposite. So, hoping for a big move next week. Sawyer Merritt should be possible to get on, says Emmanuel. Yeah, definitely, for sure. I follow him on Twitter. I don't think he follows me back. All good ideas. So Warren, Dave Leon Investing, Stephen Mark Ryan, Warren Redlick, Elon. Yeah, that's a moonshot and a half. Chicken Genius. R6 Alex, you could bring a lot of options knowledge to community Dave Lee's channel. I do love Dave Lee's stuff. Being a content creator, sometimes you don't get to consume as much content because there's only so much content that I can fix in, either make or consume. Before I was making content, I was consuming content 24/7 on Tesla. Now it's a little bit toned down since then, since I'm trying to leave more free room in my airy space head to be able to do more content. Saraja, dang it, Tyler really wants me to get him on. I'll see what I can do. The problem is he wants to stay anonymous, which is fine. I've already done an anonymous video, but I think he was a little bit reluctant to come on the channel while being so anonymous. But now that he's made a YouTube video or two, maybe that's different. I do prefer having people on that can, at least come on camera, just because it's more interactive. But yeah, for sure. Dave Lee does not believe in market makers pinning prices to make money on options, says Castamere. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. Gonzalo says +1 of Dave Lee's interviews are great. Would be a good match. Okay. Well, Dave Lee has a huge platform. How many subscribers does he have? Let's take a look. There's no way I can, I shouldn't say there's no way, but it'll be tougher as a newer, let's just go on YouTube. It'll be tougher as a newer creator for me to get on Dave Lee, or pardon me, to get Dave Lee on the channel. Yeah, he's got like X amount, like an order of magnitude higher subscribers than I do. But I guess it doesn't hurt to shout out, or if you guys help me out, if you guys tweet next time at him, just tag me. But maybe it goes a long way. I found you and started following you because I wanted to learn more about options. How did you get so knowledgeable? Thanks, R6. I don't know if knowledgeable is the right word, or if I just lost a lot of money. Right? That's I've been interested in options since I was a kid because of my dad. My dad's been teaching. My dad's been talking to me about options since I was literally a kid. So my dad's not very sporty, so that's kind of how he compensated for the sports aspect. Was teaching me about options. It's funny though. It's very much options has changed, right? If I just speak to options for a second, options investing has changed dramatically in the last 2 or 3 years. There's a huge influx of new people into options trading. Like, I've never seen growth in something so much because of Robinhood, I'm guessing. But the amount of newbie investors that not only don't know about the stock market, but also don't know about options trading that are starting with options is crazy to see. That's why, we have stuff like weekly options now, right? Back in the day, there were no weekly options. There were only monthly options. And options was this like gray, like black box type of situation where, you were either team leap or you were either team theta, where you just sell theta, or you were team YOLO on earnings, right? Like, there was only a couple different camps, and sophisticated options traders back in the day, I'm talking, back in the day, 2011 maybe, were like people that were like forging on new strategies like butterflies, right? Being able to pin, sell 2 calls at 680, buy 2 wings out, and the whole goal is to get to make as much money to pin. That was like sophisticated as a trade back then, right? It's and now if you look at what's happening with options trading, it's democratized fully, which I appreciate. Even back in the day, I had to trade on, obviously when I was under 16 years old, I traded on my dad's account. Then when I was older, even then, I had to, be able to answer questions about, options to actually get an account approved. I'm not sure if that's a Canadian thing, but now with Robinhood, you just literally open an account and that's it, right? Studio says pain is how I learn stuff too. That's okay. Yeah, absolutely. Good decisions come from knowledge. Knowledge comes from bad decisions. And Sarah, you know what? You learn from your mistakes. But what's that saying people say is you don't have to learn from your own mistakes, right? You can learn from other people's mistakes. Unfortunately for me, I am that person that has made those mistakes. But moving forward, you definitely can lose from other people. You can learn from other people as well. Boil Down AH says, so on Reddit, people were talking about selling 1,000 strike puts for 2023, making almost half of that back in premium. Can you talk about that kind of a trade? So I mean, what you're saying is you would go to 2023, I don't know, January. And I know, who is it on our Discord? I'm trying to remember. I think Tesla 5K or someone else on our Discord, which, by the way, if you want to talk options, and a lot of people on our Discord talk options all day and strategy that they've been doing, join us. Go to that pinned comment where I have tap the link and join us on Patreon. We talk about options in there a lot. But if you're talking about selling an in the money put, you're collecting about 47 grand by selling this put. I don't sell naked premium just because, it's not my thing. But the point here that you're making is the bet that you're making by selling 1,000 strike put is that Tesla will be up and past $1,000 by expiration date in January 2023, right? That's the bet that you're making. And in lieu of that, you're collecting all of this premium. Now, the problem is if you make that trade, it's not a problem. It's just risk reward, pros and cons, is you're tying up a lot of margin and capital to be able to be short that put, right? If you're short that premium, you're going to have a massive decrease in your buying power. And not for a short amount of time either, about for 2 years, right? So that's a decision. Yeah, you would lock up 100K, you guys are saying for 2 years. So, I mean, I don't know your account. Again, I can't speak to risk rewards for your account. The question is the risk reward worth you tying up capital for that long for that bet? Or are you better off making a shorter term bet? I often say, like, if you're selling premium, and Tasty Trade talks a lot about this, is selling premium about 45 days to expiration is the fine balance between getting enough predictability on selling premium and also having enough time in case a move happens against you. If you get margin call or whatever, different story. But in case a move happens against you, for you to recoup your losses. Tying up capital for 2 years for 50K, right? And you're you're locking up 100K. Maybe that's a good risk reward for you, right? So yeah, I don't trade with margin at all. Maybe I'm missing out on a lot of stuff by doing that. I just never have. From the beginning, I set myself a rule that I would never trade on margin. That's just what I do. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is what it is. Taking a small quiz in order to trade is definitely a Danish and Swedish thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, like I said, selling premium though on Tesla for next week, even there's not a lot here. Like Tesla within a day can pop over $700, right? So these that you're selling for $6.50, like if I were to look at this, I want to be on the buying side of these calls and puts rather than, and I'm not taking a directional bias even. I'm just saying that the amount of premium that's baked in for next week is quite cheap. Now, if you're a contrarian, you're going to say the reason why premium is so damn low in Tesla for the next couple of weeks is because they are not moving the stock price. And that's definitely perhaps a good theory because, again, we're sitting between supply lines. It's not like we have room to go. We might have to retest supply on the downside. But man, these look cheap, right? We all know Tesla, on a minute's notice, it can go up 10%, right? So yeah, R6 says, I'll use margin next time the market has a major correction. I look at it as a cred line. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. I just have weird rules and boundaries that I set for myself with my account and not considering it real money and considering it investment money and having it totally separate from everything about that. That's why I'm asking about IB referral. Let me see. One sec. I'll try to log in right now and see. Last time I clicked on getting refer a friend, get $200. I clicked on it last time and it says error. Oh, it says I got it. Hold on one sec. Let me try to paste it in the chat. I appreciate you asking for the 9th time before me actually getting it to you. Discipline. Yeah, exactly, Steve. So I just set myself, I set myself these rules and for better or for worse, I just kind of keep them like that. Let me paste my link. There's my Interactive Brokers referral link in case you want to join with that. I appreciate you. Yashu619. I wonder who gave that user. That's weird. Rey Mysterio type shit right there. Anyways, guys, much love to everyone watching. If you're, one of the people watching that is not subscribed right now and you appreciate the channel, consider hitting the like and subscribe. It helps grow the channel. My goal is to get to, if we can get to 10,000 subscribers by the summertime, I'm happy. Again, we started this channel in December during S&P inclusion. Started it for fun because there was no one talking options and day trading with Tesla and the minute by minute moves and still having an investment mindset, and that's why we started the channel. But it's only grown because of everyone here. So again, I will say I appreciate every single one of you guys watching and sticking around. There is definitely a learning curve with Interactive Brokers. Absolutely. Good juju for everyone. Thanks, DJ. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Tyler. R6. Everyone, I appreciate you guys watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe on the way out. Drop me a comment if you're watching this on the replay. Marcus says only about half the viewers liked. Love you right back. It's yeah, people don't like hitting like, but it is what it is. I appreciate that. And yes, if you hit the notification bell, you should get alerted for the next live stream, which I am terrible at planning days in advance for. So if you want to be alerted when that happens, you're gonna have to hit the bell. I'm sorry. I'm fun to watch. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. My voice is dropping out now. I've been talking all day, but hey, rule. Appreciate you guys. And yeah, if you, I won't pump this too much, but if you want to join us on Discord again, check out my pinned comment. I'll throw it into the chat here. Feel free to join us on Patreon. On any plan, you get to join the chat room like it is right now. I might change that in the future. I might actually change around plans, but if you're in, you're grandfathered in. But I am looking at changing some of the plans. I'm looking at actually adding in a one-on-one call on the higher plans to potentially, because I've been getting a lot of one-on-one requests of people wanting to Zoom call and talk about options and trading and, shoot the shit about the market. So I appreciate that. I might consider adding that as a Patreon thing later. But much love to everyone. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hope everyone had fun. Have a great weekend. Remember, say this every Friday. Put down your laptops, put down your phones this weekend, at least for a couple hours. Spend time with your family. Call someone that you love. Go for a walk. Go out in nature. life is too short to worry about Tesla stock price 24/7 on the weekend, especially when it's closed. That being said, I will be checking futures on Sunday. So much love. Take care, everyone. Peace.